Today, I'll just like to do a short video, a product review of semen analysis analyzers. As we all know, manual semen analysis have proven to be the benchmark for andrology studies for 30, 40, 50 years, but we all recognise as both time-consuming and vulnerable to operator experience and the vagaries of the WHO manual. The CASA systems were introduced to reduce man-hours and variability with an automatic assessment, focused initially on motility. But are they the same as manual testing, and will CASA introduce a new set of standards? In this video, I have searched both the publications and the internet to find all the CASA systems on the market. I may have missed some, and if so, there will be an update to correct this. But currently, if you're in the market to buy a CASA system, then I hope the following list will help you. Leave a comment if there are others on the market, and leave a comment on whether you like or dislike your particular analyzer. The more comments, the better, and will be informative for other scientists in the market. I make no recommendations on which I think is the best, and unfortunately, no company has yet provided support for this video. I live in hope, though. So I'm quickly going to go through all the models that I could find on the marketplace. And I'm using this table, basically looking at the facilities they offer, looking for concentration, motility, morphology, vitality, DNA fragmentation, leukocytes, and if they're part of an EQA program. Some of these I'm very confident I've got it correct, but others I may not have it correct. And if I'm incorrect, I apologise. But I've provided the URLs for anyone who's looking at this video to go back and ascertain the information for themselves. So the first one is from Microptics in Spain, and this is the SA scope. It's now a fully automated system and looking at both concentration, motility, morphology, vitality, DNA fragmentation, leukocytes. And interesting that concentration motility can be done on one slide. Morphology needs some processing the sample on the second slide. A third slide for vitality, a fourth fairly complicated one for doing DNA fragmentation, and a last slide for leukocytes. So really you need to put 4 or 5 slides for a semen sample, and as I understand it, they're processed in the machine one at a time. These can be linked to the database system and provide some uniformity in assessments. They do provide the original CASA system, which was a small video camera on a microscope, that I think had this functionality, just doing the concentration, motility, and apparently morphology and vitality, but I'm not entirely sure about this. The next one is the state-of-the-art, the king of all motility analyzers, the Hamilton Thorne Tox IVOS. This was the original sperm motility analyzer. It's still the pick of the thing, but the trouble is it's complicated and expensive. It produces a whole variety of motility analysis. I believe it actually tracks one frame from the other. Each image identifies individual sperm and then tracks their movement and looks at different types of motility, head displacement, which can be really valuable if you're looking at sperm quality for toxicology reports. But it hasn't proven to be critical in routine IVF. This is the original remote capture station for the IVOS. And this was the original IVOS, which is the standard one. I understand it has always been quite expensive, but produces very complicated, very accurate estimates of concentration, motility, and morphology based upon the visual assessment of each sperm head in its number, motility movements, and morphology. And I haven't seen this one, but they also provide a smaller benchtop version called LensHook, which does the same thing, and you may like to explore that as just a cheaper option. Another company on the marketplace is Medical Electronic Systems, the MES systems, and they make 4 units. And I'm familiar with the SAQ Gold. Basically, the SAQ Vision is top of the range, and as they say here, 75-second test for fresh samples for IVF or IUI, washed post-vasectomy, frozen, longevity, and manual count samples, so it does everything. The morphology, as I understand it, it works out concentration motility from light diffraction through the sample, and then using very complicated AI algorithms to calculate the motility and concentration. And the morphology is based upon an AI estimate of motility. So as the motility decreases, morphology decreases. But I think you need to go back to the website and look at it and clarify so exactly what's happening. There's they offer another one, a web-based interface, SQAIQ. This is one that I'm familiar with, and I've run an EQA program for this in Australia, where clinics have created their own sample. Then I process the data, and it's actually very uniform. But once again, I believe it estimates the concentration motility from a diffraction of light through a sample. If I'm wrong, I apologise. Someone write a comment and correct me if you like. And once again, the morphology is based on motility, and therefore you can only do the morphology on samples with good motility. Another one I came across, which I've had no experience with, is from Genova Biomedics, but something worth a look at. It's called a glimmer semen analysis, and I haven't got any further information on that. And the last one is a mini tube, which has been around for a long time, one of the very early ones. Now, I'm sure it's very efficient for motility and concentration, and very cheap. And there's a few more I found on the internet which I have no experience with. This is from prosia.com, Aquamarius, Aquacet, and AS Systems. And according to their documentation, they will do concentration, motility, morphology, vitality, and DNA fragmentation. And I have no idea whether they're part of the EQA program or not. And there's another one from China, another CASA system. You can go back and look at this on the URL. I have no comments, but presumably it is very similar to the IVOS, mainly looking at motility. And then there's one or two more. There's an ASEAN semen analysis from China. I don't have the URL for that. And the last one I found was iSperm, which is mainly for veterinary products. And they have different algorithms for a whole range of animal systems. The only one they don't have is for humans. And I believe there's an attachment of the phone and then processing that image. And it's for mainly for veterinary people working in the field for estimates of sperm motility and concentration. Just a few slides right at the very end. This is the most recent one where people have looked at the CASA results comparing them to manual results. And this group from China looked and found the deviations basically for all the analog CASA systems all skewed towards IVF rather than ICSI. So if you're using the CASA to decide whether you should be allocating your client to IVF or ICSI based on semen analysis, the CASA systems would direct more to IVF than the manual counts. And presumably the risk is that it'll be cheap for a lot of people, but there may just be a slight increased risk in poor fertilizations. And they write, although the CASA technologies have been improving recently, the manual method cannot be replaced by the tested CASA systems at present, and the results should be treated with caution. CASA algorithms should be improved, especially in morphology, and future strict studies should be designed to evaluate the CASA systems with both internal and external validations. If I go back to one of the very earliest in 2014, double-blind study comparing two assessments, they concluded the advantage of using automated semen analysis are the standardization, speed, lower turnaround time, precision, reduced potential human error, automated data recording, and less need for highly skilled professionals to run the system. The disadvantages of using automatic systems are notably the problem with testing with some atypical samples and the ability to perform assessments of morphological abnormalities. In conclusion, the authors stated the automated semen analysis can be used for routine analysis, providing rapid clinical acceptable results with high precision, but they may positively impact on laboratory standardization. There was a case, a patient, publication 2018 by Matthew Thomason saying that CASA has been used in reproductive medicine pathology labs for over 25 years, yet the fertility industry generally remains skeptical and has avoided automation despite clear weaknesses in the manual semen analysis system. Moreover, recent CASA motility systems offer simpler solutions to earlier problems in eliminating artifacts and have been successfully validated for sperm concentration. As a result, they should be viewed with more confidence in relation to motility grading, Sperm morphology and DNA testing both require an evidence-based consensus and a well-validated, reliable reproducible assay to be developed before automation of either can be of real clinical benefit. And lastly, just a note in 2023 saying in andrology and reproductive medicine, AI has been used for objective sperm, oocyte and embryo selection, prediction of surgical outcomes, and cost-effectiveness assessments. In the future, better integration and implementation of AI into medicine will undoubtedly lead to pioneering-based evidence and the reshaping of andrology and reproductive medicine. And then we're moving here from IVF into male infertility, where these authors in 2024 were saying there have been many significant scientific advances in the diagnostic and treatment modalities in the field of male infertility in recent decades. Examples of these include assisted reproductive technology, sperm selection techniques for ICSI, surgical procedures for sperm retrieval, and novel tests for sperm function. However, there is certainly a need for new developments in this field. In the review, which I think requires, no, I think that's open access. In this review, we will discuss advances in the management of male infertility, such as seminal oxidative stress testing, DNA sperm fragmentation, genetic and epigenetic tests, genetic manipulations, Right. But they're talking really about using AI to transform semen analysis to better understand male infertility. So my final comments are, manual semen analysis have proven to be the bedrock of all andrology testing for the last 50 years in IVF. But we all recognise it's both time-consuming and vulnerable to the operator experience and the vagaries of WHO manual. Early systems focused on identification of a sperm in a live sample and motility, but later systems used various forms of light dispersion to guesstimate the sperm concentration and motility. Newer systems will undoubtedly use AI to overcome all these parameters. Regardless, any system should be able to reproducibly estimate concentration, motility, and morphology in both routine samples, complicated samples, and post-vasectomy samples, and to be able to be part of an EQA program. So IVF has changed the nature of semen analysis in men's fertility to IVF or ICSI decision-making. There are differences in focus and have led to the lowering of expectations from semen analysis and a change in the focus from men's health to female fertility. But given the dire straits of many semen samples, the use of semen analysis as a window into men's reproductive health and men's health in general requires accurate measurements of semen parameters. Any CASA systems need to accurately reflect semen quality, and any old CASA systems in place may no longer be fit for purpose. So just as a disclaimer, my name's James Stanger. I'm an embryologist with 50 years experience. I'm not a medical person and the information is not medical advice, but it may help you in knowing what questions to ask about your treatment with your doctor and maybe to help in understanding the advice you receive. If you like what I'm doing, press subscribe or press like, but whatever you do, please leave a comment. And this is funded by my own third aid company, which is an online EQA and training program in IVF, in andrology and embryology. And if clients using this program will benefit from knowing the skills of your laboratory staff are under constant review and assessment. And you can see here all the different schemes which I run. The important thing is you can enroll as a trainee, as a professional. You can run small clinics or large multi-lab clinics. It can be used for training or competency or accreditation. Okay, I'd like to thank you for this. I recognise IVF as a personal journey that involves the actions of many. It helps to understand all aspects of that journey, and I hope this information may be of value. If you like the information provided, please tell other clients about it and please subscribe. Okay, I'll say goodbye. Thank you. Ciao.